Hey there, book lovers! Welcome back to our journey through Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. If you missed our deep dives into volumes 1 and 2, be sure to check those out. Today we're diving into the exciting and dramatic volume 3. Grab your tea, get comfy, and let's jump right in. Elizabeth Bennet and the Gardiners arrive at the stunning Pemberley estate, home of none other than Mr. Darcy. They are completely blown away by the beauty of the house and grounds. The housekeeper sings Darcy's praises, describing him as the best landlord and master ever. Just as they're soaking in the grandeur, who should appear but Mr. Darcy himself? The very next day, Darcy visits with his shy sister Georgiana and their friend Mr. Bingley. Elizabeth is relieved to see no romantic spark between Bingley and Georgiana, despite Miss Bingley's earlier implications. In fact, Bingley seems to be wistfully referencing Jane. Elizabeth tries her best to be charming, while the Gardiners are convinced that Darcy is smitten with her. But what are Elizabeth's feelings? Invited again to Pemberley, Elizabeth and Mrs. Gardiner join Georgiana and the not-so-friendly Miss Bingley. Miss Bingley's attempts to belittle Elizabeth backfire, making her look petty. Darcy's interest in Elizabeth is clear, but her joy is short-lived. Elizabeth receives letters from Jane with devastating news. Lydia has eloped with Wickham and they might not be married. In her panic, Elizabeth rushes to tell her uncle but runs into Darcy. He is deeply concerned and stays to comfort her as she breaks down. She confides the scandalous news, and Darcy, feeling partly responsible due to his silence about Wickham, leaves her in distress. Elizabeth realizes she loves him but fears the scandal will ruin any chance of marriage. As they hurry back to Longbourn, Elizabeth and the Gardiners discuss Lydia's dire situation. Mr. Bennet has gone to London to search for her, leaving Jane to manage the household. The entire town gossips, and Mr. Collins sends a pompous letter condemning Lydia. Finally, a letter arrives from Mr. Gardiner. Lydia and Wickham have been found and convinced to marry, provided Wickham's debts are paid. Mr. Bennet reluctantly agrees, assuming Mr. Gardiner has covered the costs. Mrs. Bennet, in typical fashion, shifts from despair to excitement over wedding preparations. Lydia and Wickham arrive at Longbourn, shamelessly confident. Elizabeth learns that it was Darcy who tracked them down, paid Wickham's debts, and secured his commission, all out of love for her. Meanwhile, Bingley returns to Netherfield, much to Jane's secret delight, and Darcy visits again, still reserved and grave. Drama ensues when Lady Catherine de Bourgh storms into Longbourn, demanding Elizabeth to refuse any proposal from Darcy. Elizabeth stands her ground, infuriating Lady Catherine, who threatens to talk sense into Darcy herself. Elizabeth, shaken, wonders what Darcy will do. Surprisingly, Darcy visits soon after. Elizabeth thanks him for his help with Lydia, and Darcy, declaring his unchanged love, proposes again. This time, Elizabeth joyfully accepts, and they discuss how their relationship has grown. The Bennet family is stunned, but eventually delighted by the engagement. Jane is thrilled. Mrs. Bennet can hardly contain her excitement over Darcy's wealth, and Mr. Bennet is relieved to learn Darcy paid Wickham's debts. The double wedding of Elizabeth and Darcy and Jane and Bingley brings joy and harmony. Elizabeth and Darcy's married life at Pemberley is blissful, frequently visited by the Gardiners, while Jane and Bingley live nearby. Kitty thrives under their influence, and life settles into a happy routine. Even Lady Catherine's coldness can't dampen their spirits. And there you have it, the dramatic and heartwarming conclusion to Pride and Prejudice. From misunderstandings and misjudgments to love and redemption, Jane Austen crafts a timeless tale that continues to enchant readers. Thanks for joining me on this literary journey. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, happy reading!